Welcome to the Breathing Edge podcast. So today I want to introduce a very special person that we met in Bali. Gary, he had an amazing experience in AFES, but not only that, but we had some incredible conversations during those 4 or 5 days that we were there together. And in the lead up to this podcast, we've been chatting for almost an hour and a half. So you can tell that we love to chat. So I'd like to introduce, Gary came to these sessions looking for transformation, looking for a reset. And a little bit of his background, he's a serial entrepreneur and he's worked with a lot of amazing people and some big projects. So I think, Gary, I might hand it over to you to just see if you want to add anything more to that about who you are and what you're up to in your life, and share a little bit more about your experience with us while we were at AFES in Bali this year.
Sure, my pleasure. And guys, good to see you. It's been a while. So just for your viewers and the people that follow you, my experience of going to Bali was one of, I was looking for transformation. I had no idea really why I was going. A cousin of mine basically coerced me into going. I went with a blank slate. I had no idea what or why I was going there. I didn't have any set expectations, but I knew at this point in my life, I've gone through a lot of personal turmoil, a lot of personal growth, a lot of personal revelations and the like, through marriage, through children growing up and getting ready to leave for college, and a variety of professional issues. It was time for me to do something different, and Bali happened to be the right place in the right time. And breathwork, unknown to me, getting on the plane, was the number one thing, the number one practice, the number one experience that I had in Bali that came back with me. It attached itself to me in a very profound way that was the gem that I was looking for. It's an evolutionary process with me. It's something I'm still learning to do and still learning to incorporate into my daily practices, of whether that's exercise or meditation or time with my friends. But breathwork is becoming more and more important to me because it was so profound to me. And as you guys know, and I'll say it for the folks that are watching your podcast, I had a breathwork experience prior to going to Bali off of a meditation app. I just stumbled across it. It was a half-hour breathwork. I had no idea at all what it was, but at the end of it, I was basically shaking, sitting on a patio by myself after I've just done my first breathwork, and had absolutely no idea what had just happened to me. All I knew is it was profound, it was powerful, and I wanted more. I wanted more of it. And the second day there at AFEST, met the two of you, and you had your first breathwork session, and 10 minutes into it, the dots connected. 1 and 1 was, oh, that's what that was. Recognize the fact that what I had experienced in Los Angeles here, sitting on my patio by myself, was actually breathwork. And in the middle of your session, in the first session in Bali, the dots got aligned. And I then recognized this is a tool. This is something for me to work on because it's so profound for me. And it's had that lingering effect on me all the way through. So
That's brilliant. And sometimes it's so hard to put an experience into words. But I'd like to invite you to share what would be like one of those pivotal, like, aha moments during one of your sessions. So something like that's tangible, to be able to say, this was my experience and this is how it made a difference for me.
Or even the impact that it's had on you.
Yeah.
Gary,
Sure.
like, so,
what was the moment of impact?
General impact that it's had on you. I mean, the description you just said was great. And like Angie said, she wanted to bury you down a little bit more into this.
give me some juice.
So yeah, and for me, it is so profound that's easy. The impact it had was, and I've read enough about different psychedelic drugs that people use to and have professionally been developed, organic and inorganic, to strip away the layers of defenses that you build up inside of yourself to insulate yourself from feeling pain or feeling happiness or feeling joy or feeling energy or whatever it is that you're afraid, or maybe not necessarily afraid, but that you wouldn't want to walk down the street in a euphoric state of happiness, dancing and singing because you'd be viewed oddly, or weeping or crying out in pain, emotional pain, intellectual pain, whatever it is. So what did breathwork do for me? It stripped away those layers of insulation and it got right to whatever it was that I was feeling at the time. Whether it's, and my practice since then has exposed me to euphoric highs and some insanely deep lows as well. But I get to them peacefully. I get to them in an energized state, and it allows me to release them or look at them or digest it or ponder it or whatever the case may be, whether it's journaling afterwards or drawing or going out. As I mentioned one time, it was so impactful on me needing to do something physical. As soon as I finished my session, I got up and I went out for a run. It does that. It strips away those layers of insulation that tend to muffle, mute, glaze over the level of intensity of given emotions that I think we all really want to feel, or when we're ready to feel them, we're really ready to feel them, and getting to that is often hard to do. Breath work opens that door for me in a huge way.
Would you say that it might be an experience of feeling a certain profound strength and vulnerability?
Oh yeah, no question. Because you gain the strength by being vulnerable. So by letting myself be vulnerable to pain or to joy, it allows you to be strong by experiencing those emotions at a very intense level, whatever they are. I mean, it's the full gamut. I mean, there have been sessions that I've done and that are very low key, and there are sessions that have been super intense. But there's always a strength behind it because the emotions are raw and they're powerful, and that motivates it. It causes growth. No pain, no gain.
And the feeling, I think the feeling is a key aspect to it. And I think one of the special things that comes from using the breathing as a tool or using it to experience is that you get that felt experience. And we've found that a lot of the people we meet, a lot of the clients that we work with, everyone's in their head a lot. And I think they become numb to the whole feeling because, feeling, as you said before, you might end up crying and blubbering and snot all over you, because you need to feel this kind of depth of emotion and its energy. And I think a lot of people shy away from that for reasons you said before, maybe not wanting to walk down the street or not wanting other people to see them in that state. And I think that for us in doing this work, there's a whole aspect of bringing energy and fun and having these experiences, learning how to relax and doing all these things. But when it comes to this transformational stuff, where people get to feel who they are, there's we get to experience that. It's an amazing experience that we get to to be a part of that with people as well. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because it's really started to make me think about the whole feeling thing, how the people do shy away from feeling.
And especially when you mentioned about feeling joy, I that resonated with me, because there was quite a few years that I felt like that unconsciously I was resisting joy or resisting feeling happy, because there was something that I needed to do to get me to where I wanted to be, where I thought I would be happy there.
A bullshit story.
Yeah.
You feel guilty about feeling good. There's no reason to feel guilty about feeling good. Feeling good is good. Period. End of day. End of story. But allowing yourself to do that is hard.
Yeah, especially the mamas, I mean, I only speak because I am a mama, but that is something that sometimes we have a tendency to go, I feel guilty for feeling so good because I have to look after everyone else first. So.
And I think it's, we were talking prior to this, and you were telling us about another experience that you had where you got to really experience feminine energy rather than women in the room. Versus you got to feel yourself as masculine energy. And, for you and I, we both have daughters. I don't have a son. I've been a son and been a guy, but I think there's something to be said about recognizing to the core the energy that you are when it comes to those polarities, when masculine, feminine, and of course, we all do know that we have them. We have both of those energies inside us. It's, in my mind, I see that it's skewed a lot towards the masculine side. I see a lot of females or a lot of women, girls, women. I see that, and you can kind of see that they feel like they've got to be masculine, and it
Guilty.
doesn't, it doesn't fit. It often causes a lot of mismatches, and you're in a world that's already, I call it dick heavy, this world. We're already, it's already very masculine. So it's, it was interesting to talk about that, because I think that is an aspect of the doing this work or doing the breathing that allows you to identify and stand in the strengths of those, because of the vulnerability part, even to be masculine and to be fully masculine, you must be able to feel the full range of emotions that come with being human. At all. So it's I thought I'd bring that up because I really enjoyed us talking about that. So.
Well, and I think pity we didn't catch it in this part, but it's great that you brought it up, because one thing that you did say that really resonated with me, especially being a woman or in the feminine energy, is that you just know when a man is in his masculine energy, and you know when he's not trying to overdo it or anything like that. And it's almost like a felt sense of like you're not separated anymore. I think that there's a lot, my experience has been, even, going out in public, there's a big felt sense of separation from people because there's so much doing happening. So when you're sharing your experience about, doing a breathwork experience in a group of women and feeling that you were not separate from them, that you were just a masculine surrounded by feminine, and how that energy was just beautiful and connected, like that, that was kind of cool. And it's not, and you're not like a woo-woo kind of a person. You're like, you said, I never believed that it's something I would experience this until I experienced it.
It was incredibly powerful for me to be in their feminine energy and be in that with them and experience that without sexualizing it and experiencing it strictly as a masculine and feminine. And that's something that was profound to me. It was also beautiful because it allowed me to be closer without all the facades and the connotations that generally are stereotyped in an environment like that. And that was great.
That's a rarity.
Yeah, I thought so. I felt that. I definitely felt that way, and the people I was with, they experienced something similar for me, and it was something I took forward. It's something that I cherish that moment. And I've been in contact with a few of them since that day in Ubud, and we all look back on that experience very fondly because it was profound for all of us in different ways, but yeah, definitely was.
Yeah. So you had quite a few profound experience, one before A-Fest, quite a few of them at A-Fest and after.
Yep.
And now you've come home and you've had quite a few months of like the real life,
Yep.
And what I wanted to ask you is, you had mentioned, this is something that really piqued my interest. You said breathwork is like the only thing that you've tried that you've stuck with, or breathing, like a breathing practice. And you had mentioned that you practice around 2 to 3 days a week, and you have a designated session where you spend the time actually taking your breath out for a spin.
Let's just confirm something. We're all dedicated to breathing.
Yes,
all of us.
because
right?
we are breathing every day. Yes. But
the other option is death.
Yes.
So everyone out there, give yourself a hand, because you're already halfway there.
Yeah. That's like, a runner doesn't have to go and get their equipment. They just go out for a run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like that. So the question I have for you is, how do you know when it's time to sit down and have a practice? How do you know it's time to sit down and have a designated session of breathing?
So for me, it comes and goes as far as when it happens in the day. There's no consistency to it yet. When we were in Bali, there was the morning sessions that we did, and those were very different from the more intense sessions, and I'll call them intense sessions when we were inside doing that. But for me today, it's like I know that when we're done with this interview and the podcast, it's rolling up on 6 o'clock here in Los Angeles. I know what I'm going to go do because I'm like, I'm so energized by being on and chatting with you guys and remembering all the feeling and some of the new stuff that you shared with me and things to work on as far as how to do. I can't wait to like shut off, go close the door, pick a nice sandalwood incense or something and shut down and go for it, because it's speaking to me right now and I can't wait to get in there and do that because it's going to make the rest of my day better. Carving out the time it's a tough thing to do. And my sessions generally, I like a longer session. For me, that really is powerful. Can I stop and do a 5 or 10 minute session? Yeah, but I'm new to this still, and I'm thirsting for the big stuff and the big chunks. But do the little bites help as well? You bet. Yeah, you bet. So, but it'll speak to me, or I'll be really wound up, or I'll have a really great, and it could be either side of the equation. I could be really wound up with a business call and say, all right, you need to go decompress because right now you're going to blow somebody's head off. And it's not going to accomplish anything. So go reset the bar, shut down, go do a breathwork session. On the flip of that, I can also feed off of that and say, hey, this was a great phone call, or I just had a fantastic experience meeting somebody new and I'm feeling energized. Run and go do it there and see if you can take that up a notch. Yeah. You take all that positive side of it and run with it and get that energy to go. So it's really, when I want to enhance something or want to explore something, that's when it speaks to me more than any other time.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. Now, that takes me perfectly into the next question that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Now, I know you've mentioned breathing, and you can mention that again, or if there's anything else. What are 3 key habits, or like quality habits, or your go-to habits when you feel like you need to move forward, or when you need to get into your flow, or what? Just basically 3 key quality habits that have you in.
So breathwork is now one of them. That's been integrated for the last 3.5 months or so, 3 months. So that is definitely a key go-to today. Exercise has always been that. and then friends.
Mm.
Friends for me, when I need to reach out and need to be juiced and I can't get it from myself or I can't get it from exercise. And I love my kids to death, but they're still kids. And sometimes it doesn't come there. So, go grab one friend or 4 or 5 friends and go do something that just is us being, just shutting down. And we were talking about, Shane and I, all of us were talking about it earlier, that need and that acknowledgement of shutting down and relaxing and decompressing. Friends will help me do that. So those are my 3 strong ones.
Love it.
That's awesome. And especially the friends one, because we haven't had someone mention that before. And interestingly, we were deep in some research on longevity the other day. And of course, I'm looking at all the things that move the needle the most won't surprise some people. They're around the physical body. But there was one that was what they classed as something that was overall the most important thing, and that was community in longevity. And so, and you would have heard many phrases that go something like, you'll end up at the sum of all the people you hang out with, basically. When it comes to financial situations, when it comes to your thinking, when it comes to your consciousness, any of these things will amount to the people that you surround yourself with. So that's really important, that you do look and I am really open with people. I don't have a lot of friends. I'm really open with people about this because it is true. It's true that that the people that you do hang out with really affect who you are and now it out there. It's a massive predictor of longevity.
Yeah. If you look at the blue zones around the world and you look at the sense of community in those blue zones, like Sardinia or even here Loma Linda, and I have no idea why Loma Linda is a blue zone.
You're the second person to mention that, Loma Linda.
Well, because it's in a section of Los Angeles that you'd look at and go, "What? Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, just inland. Remember
we've been through.
Yeah, it's not Sardinia. It's not the Greek Isles. It's not Okinawa. I mean, it's bloody Loma Linda. But
there are some schools there. Quite a lot of schools there. So the community would be a lot of people supporting.
And it's the community, yeah. Because there's a big educational, there's a big academic society out there. And it's a tight-knit area because anybody who grows up there, most of them run away, but the ones that stay apparently do better and live longer. So why are they running away from it? I don't know. But yeah, so and to your point, I don't have a huge community of friends. But I'm incredibly grateful and blessed that the friends that I have, I've known a lot of these, both men and women, for over 50 years already. Yeah. And I grew up with them. They're scattered all over the country, but I can pick up a phone tomorrow and they'll listen to me babble and blab as long as I need their friendship. They're on the phone. And vice versa.
Yeah, so it's reciprocated.
So yeah, so it's a small group, but it's a tight group. It's a seriously tight group. So
beautiful. Well, that takes me to the next question. What? And this is the final question in closing. What is it that juices you? What do you wake up? Yeah, what do you wake up for in the morning?
The unknown. The hope that this day provides me something, some tidbit, some nugget that is so new, so enlightening, so powerful, so transformational, that it opens a door, it opens something in me that is going to spark me for the next phase of my life. And that's why as we said this earlier, I am in major transformation right now. I don't know what I'm going to look like, not necessarily physically, but I don't know what my life's going to look like in a year, because I don't want it to look like the way it did for the last few years. And so I've kind of joked around and said, this point in my life is Gary 3.0. Gary 1.0 was up until I got married. 2.0 was 24 years of a marriage and children and everything else. 3.0, that's what's juicy right now, because I don't have any way to put any parameters on that. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know whether I grow my hair out back down, so it was down here once. I don't know whether that happens again. I don't know whether I become a corporate raider. I have no idea what I want, other than I want something different than 1.0 and 2.0. So that sparks me.
You know, my what I just got from that, and I love this. I want to share kind of like what clicked for me, is the importance of that childlike curiosity, the importance of the wonderment, the waking up in wonderment of nothing is consistent, but it's very exciting and could be going beyond my dreams.
Yeah, and don't forget to breathe, because you can the wheels can really fast fall off that little car.
Well, that's the hero's journey, isn't it?
Hero's
journey. You can wake up in wonderment and then get slapped around a little bit and then have to let that go and then the wonderment.
Well, that's pretty common occurrence.
I know. But that's where that's why Shane said about breathing, because we use it as a navigational tool to bring us back to wonderment and to create play in the sense around the hero's journey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so thank you, Gary, for taking so much
Thank you, guys.
time with us. It's so good to connect with you again and buzzing again in conversations. So thank you for taking your time to meet us today.
It's been my pleasure. I think the world of you guys. You've impacted my life in a profound and positive way. You've given me a new tool that I can implement for cleaning out the old and bringing in the new, and all sorts of other playful ways to use it, and ways I haven't even found and figured out yet. So thank you so much for bringing that into my life, and can't wait to see you guys in Los Angeles at some point in the future.
A pleasure. I can't wait to get there. All right, Gary, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll chat soon.
All the best.
Bye.
All right.